virtual German lesson, and we are discovering a new topic today. So let's begin. I hope you have your exercise books or your notepad ready. What do you need? The worksheet set to you on Firefly. It looks like this, the first page at least. There are three of them. Your phone or any timer, and your book and pencil case. Let's not use Google Translate because I will be able to tell. You might think you get away with it, but you don't. And it's all about what you can do. And trust me, you can do more than you imagine. Alright, das heutige Datum Montag, den 23. März 2020. Let's write this down. Again, if it's going too fast, you can pause me. So let's write the date. Right, lass uns spielen, let's play. To guess the title of our lesson, we are going to try to remember some vocab from past lessons. And if you put all the first letters together, you will be able to figure out the title of our lesson. So let's have a look at these objects. That was not too long ago. This is also very recent. This, it's a near cognate. So if you know the English, you practically know the German. Oh, this is year 7 German, but you probably remember how it's called. Same thing, that's a cognate. That's recent vocab. Easy peasy. That's from our opinions about food sections. It's very recent. Year 7 German. Remember how to say a backpack. That's from the where you live lesson. This is easy. And it's year 7 German. So let's put them all together. Take a minute and try to remember the vocab. Alright, I hope you pause the video to figure it out. If not, you can do it now. We're going to correct it right now. So the first word, Sofa, Orangensaft, Mund, Matte, Elefant, Rad, Fußball, ekelhaft, Rucksack, Insel, Eis, Null. And that gives us Sommerferien. So can you try to guess what Sommerferien means? Fantastic, it's summer holidays. So that's our topic. It's quite an exciting one. I hope you are looking forward to it. So we're going to learn to talk about summer plans. We're going to learn the future tense, or at least one way to form it. And we're going to revise prepositions with the dative. That's for the grammar. So let's begin by grabbing the first sheet that I sent you. It's easy peasy. You need to match the English to the German. So you write the letter in the little spaces just in front of the German expression. And this is basically the whole vocab list for this lesson. That's it. So some of it you can figure out, some of it you already know. So let's try to do that in 3 minutes. So pause here, set 3 minutes on your timer, and then come back. Right, we're going to correct it now. So these are the first set of answers, second, third, and fourth. So make sure you have the right answers. Use your green pen and tick if it's correct, write the answer if it's not. One excellent thing to do would be to highlight those that you didn't get right and focus on them particularly. Okay, these are the ones you didn't get, so these are the ones you need to really focus on. Pause here if you need time. Let's start with the grammar. You have this little thing on your sheet. So we're going to learn eine neue Zeitform, das Futur, a new tense, the future. So we're going to use das Hilfsverb, werden. Hilfsverb is an auxiliary. In German, it literally means a helping verb. So it's a verb that helps you form the tense. Und der Infinitiv des Verbs, the infinitive of the verb. So for werden, let's have a look at it. Ich werde, du wirst, er, sie, es man. Man is the general you in German. Wird. Wir werden, ihr werdet, sie, plural or polite, werden. So let's have a look at them, let's repeat them, and let's try to memorize them. One more time. Ich werde, du wirst, er, sie, es, man wird. Wir werden, ihr werdet, sie werden. Well done. Okay, so I hope you took the time to copy this onto your own little table because now we're going to practice this. Right. Here are 3 sentences. They go from easy to tricky. Try to really pay attention to who your subject is. And for the last one, remember how because works. For this exercise, take 5 minutes. Pause here and we're going to resume for the correction. Correction. Ich werde Fußball spielen for the first one. Second one, you singular are going to go to the cinema. Du wirst ins Kino gehen. Ins Kino being the contraction for in das Kino. And finally, we are going to eat sweets because they are delicious. Wir werden Bonbons essen, weil sie lecker sind. So, weil, remember, always a comma before it, sends the conjugated verb at the end. And here, because bonbons is plural, my subject is sie, they, and the verb would be are, so sie sind, and I send the sind part at the end of the sentence. Please double check that your sentences start with a capital letter and end with a full stop because that's an international rule, and also double check that your nouns are capitalized. You know how we do it, you circle it if it wasn't done. So Fußball, Kino, and bonbons are nouns here. Right, next, let's have a look at a more complex sentence, but we're going to do it partly together. Okay, so you have that on your sheet, and it would be useful to get a few colored pens and to annotate it as we go. Okay, so in German, you always need to think before you write because you remember we have cases, we have nouns and articles changing, we have verbs to look at, and we also need to remember quite a few rules. But I promise you, if you get into the habit of doing it, it will become easier and easier. So let's analyze it together. Obviously, this is not something that you will do every single time you need to write, but we're learning together, so we're really going to take the time to break this sentence down, just to have a little reminder of all the rules that you've already learned. Okay, so let's have a look at this English sentence. We have I am going to watch. The I'm going to watch. What is the role of that bit in the sentence? It's the verb, fabelhaft. Next, a movie. What could a movie be? So remember, so far I have the verb, who's doing the action of the verb, the subject, and the subject is I. So I got my subject, my verb. What is the role of a movie here? It's the object. Well done. And I chose to start my sentence with on Monday, which is what is time phrase. Let's carry on with the sentence. We have with my family. That starts with the word with, which is a preposition. Okay? So this is a preposition phrase and it indicates a manner. So that's the way I'm doing my action. Then I have in the living room. In is also a preposition. We've seen that when we're talking about houses. And this sentence is a place phrase. So that's for my first clause. A clause is a bit of a sentence that carries one unit of meaning. Then I have another clause, and that's because it's fun. So it still relates to the first part of the sentence, but it's adding a little bit about it. And I'm going to have a while clause with it, which means that I'm going to have a little bit of a phrase using while. So if we have a look at our cases now, so remember cases are labels that I put on different words in a sentence to help identify what their role is. And this helps me spell correctly. I have the nominative, and as you might remember, the nominative is the case of the subject, so it's going to go with I. Then I have the accusative, which is the case of the object, it's going to go with movie. And then finally, I have my two prepositions with and in, which in German automatically take the dative. Okay, so that's for both of them. So this is why you need to remember all the cases and how to change your articles. We're going to use that. Okay, so word order rules. I can start my sentence with a subject or a time phrase for emphasis. So both are possible. But the verb is always, that's why it's in red, the second idea in a German sentence. And infinitives go at the end of a clause. Remember that. Especially since for my future, I am using a conjugated auxiliary and an unconjugated, so infinitive, verb. So my verb will go in the infinitive. The werden part is going to go just after my subject, and my infinitive will go at the end of the clause. The next rule is TMP. Now, can you remember what TMP stands for? I'll let you look at the colors and the sentence for a second. You might guess it. TMP stands for time, manner, and place. And this is what we use to order the rest of a sentence. So we have a subject, we have a verb, and if we have loads of additional parts and we don't really know in what order to put them, it follows the following structure. It's time, manner, place. So here the time is on Monday, that's my time phrase, but I used it to start my sentence. The manner is with my family, that's how I'm performing the action, and in the living room is the place. So think about it and bear that in mind when translating. The last thing we need to remember is that weil is preceded by a comma. So this is how you separate your clauses. You write your little comma. And it sends the conjugated verb at the end. So in it is fun. Where is my verb? Think about that. It is fun. Where is my verb? Now a little tip to help you complete this sentence. You'll have 3 minutes to do that, but first let me tell you that it's fun is in German es macht Spaß. So you can't always think literally when translating. So it is fun doesn't look like it is fun. We don't say es ist Spaß, es macht Spaß. Now that you've seen that, grab your pen, grab your timer, and try to translate the sentence in less than 3 minutes. You have all the vocab, we've seen that not too long ago. Think about your cases. 3 minutes, good luck. Okay, let's correct it now. Am Montag, on Monday. I've started with my time phrase. Now, remember the rule about German sentences. What comes second? It's the verb. Werde ich. So I'm switching my verb and my subject. Am Montag werde ich einen Film, because film is masculine. Einen Film mit meiner Familie. It's a feminine dative. Because of mit, it's meiner Familie, it's die Familie in the nominative. Im Wohnzimmer, neuter dative, so im is the contraction of in dem. Gucken, so gucken is to watch. You might remember that from one of our previous lessons. So am Montag werde ich einen Film mit meiner Familie im Wohnzimmer gucken. I have all my elements in the right spot, and werden sent the verb gucken at the end. Now I put my little comma and I'm going to do because it's fun, weil es Spaß macht. Okay? So that's my verb at the end. Don't forget your capital letter for Spaß. So that was a bit of a tricky one, and I hope that seeing it labeled makes sense. Moving on. A little bit of sprechen, that's to help you tell about your summer holidays. So let's look at the questions we'll be able to answer. Was wirst du in den Sommerferien machen? What are you going to do in the summer holiday? Für wie lange? For how long? Wie wirst du dahin fahren? How are you going to get there? So to help you answer that, here are a few vocab tips that you will find on your sheet. Nach, which means towards. So you can use Schottland, Österreich, Deutschland, Frankreich, Spanien, Italian, but you can also use less precise things, like for instance, den Bergen, to the mountains, nach dem Land, to the countryside. Then we have für, for, 10 Tage, eine Woche, 2 Wochen. So be careful with the singular and plurals here. Tag, Tage, Woche, Wochen. And for my transportation modes, mit dem. Fortunately for you, they're all masculine or neuter, so you only have mit dem to remember for now. So Auto, easy peasy. Bus is a coach. Flugzeug, the flying thing. And Zug, the train. So bear that in mind. You can also have Ich werde zu Hause bleiben, which can also be exciting as we're all experiencing right now. So I am going to stay at home. All right, we're going to do a little bit of listening now. So I'm going to talk about 5 girls. What you need to do is grab the corresponding sheet, that's the last one in your little pack for today, and I'm going to tell you where they're going to go, for how long, how, with whom, and what they're going to do there. And you have a sheet to fill, a table to fill in English, okay? You fill it in English. What I'm going to do is a little play button is going to appear, and I'm going to be reading the listening comprehension. And you can listen to it again. As soon as you see the little red button, you'll be able to know where to rewind and start again. So I'm only going to read it once, but you can listen to it twice if it helps. Okay? Let's begin. 1. Mia wird für 3 Wochen mit dem Flugzeug nach Schottland fahren. Sie wird mit ihrer Familie wandern, aber sie wird kein Haggis essen. 2. Lena wird für ein Wochenende mit dem Zug nach Bristol fahren. Sie wird mit ihrer besten Freundin Rad fahren. 3. Clara wird für 5 Tage mit dem Zug nach Frankreich fahren. Sie wird mit ihrer Schwester viel Croissant essen. 4. Luisa wird für eine Woche mit dem Bus nach der Schweiz fahren. Sie wird mit ihrem Cousin in den Bergen angeln. 5. Mila wird für 8 Tage mit dem Auto nach Spanien fahren. Sie wird mit ihrem Vater schwimmen und reiten. Right, so that's it. What you can do is go back to the video as soon as you see the little play button, means that I am reading to you the listening comprehension. Hear it one more time and grab your green pen so we can correct it. Here are the answers. Pause and take a second to correct it. And finally, let's see what you got from today's lesson. You have a very short Schreiben exercise. This is what we're going to use to wrap up this lesson. I'm just asking you to write a very quick answer in as much detail as you can about these 3 questions. Was wirst du in den Sommerferien machen? Für wie lange? Und wie wirst du dahin fahren? So this is basically what you heard in the listening comprehension, but you need to just give me your own answers. It doesn't have to be long, but make it very accurate. Once this is done, send me a picture of the whole sheet through Firefly to claim the task as completed. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. It's very important that you complete that very last exercise without using Google Translate, because this way you will not know how much you've learned. Okay, so Google Translate is a useful shortcut when you're lost abroad or you really need to communicate with someone who doesn't speak the same language. But for your work, you need to use the little brain cells of yours, okay? They worked very hard today, so show me what you've learned, okay? Try your hardest. It doesn't have to be long, but it needs to be precise and it needs to be grammatically accurate. We're going to carry on tomorrow. In the meantime, don't forget to send me a picture of your work, and I wish you an excellent day. Tschüss!